Apparently all the yelling that we heard when we got out of the theater was there was a spider in the car. So I'm going to have to watch that when I get home.
Depending on what kind of spider and whatnot, I might have been screaming too.
I'm cool. Yeah, as long as spiders, as long as they hang out by themselves, yeah, I'm cool with spiders.
Exactly.
I'm cool with them. It's all good. But yeah, we got out of the movie, and we thought Jillian and Jake were going to be gone because their movie was like, I don't know, 5 minutes long. It was like 75 minutes. And ours was The Big Lebowski, so that's about an even 2 hours. And they were still in the car talking, and all of a sudden I'm hearing this yelling coming from over there. And I'm like, did Jake not like this? That sucks. He was really looking forward to that. Poor guy can't catch a fucking break. I hear him yelling more about this than he was at Planes 2.
Yeah, they were hollering. They were. It was clear that something was going on in there.
Spiders, apparently. Yep. Spiders were going on. We just got out of The Big Lebowski, the re-release had a pretty decent-sized crowd in there, too.
I think that's the biggest crowd that's been at these classic re-releases that you and I've done.
Yeah, I think so. When they released, of course we didn't do a video on this, but like a year or so ago when they released Back to the Future for like a day, that was packed. Like we had to sit in the front.
Yeah, that one would be.
We just went just to go to the that was back when we went to movies just to go.
Just to go?
Which of course, I mean, this is too, but we just talk about it on camera afterwards.
I've missed every single time there's been a classic re-release of Back to the Future. I've missed it. I missed it in California. You know, when it was a huge thing, it was like a 2 or 3 day event in Los Angeles, and back here we missed it, didn't we?
They did do Back to the Future for a re-release here, like last month, but yeah, we did. I think I was at a con or something. I can't remember, but wherever it was I was at, I was gone. Maybe I was up in Chicago or something. But again, I was like, well, I mean, I saw it in the theater, like, so it wasn't a situation where it was like, oh crap, I never saw that movie in the theater before. I've seen Back to the Future in the theater a few times. I've seen Big Lebowski in the theater.
It's never ever gets old. I've looked forward to every single one of the classic re-releases that we've done for lots of different reasons, but I think I was looking the most forward to this one.
Yeah, I was excited to see this in the theater again because I saw it when it first came out. Me and my dad went to go see it because, you know, we all love Jeff Bridges and Coen Brothers. My dad's not much on, like, weird movies, but he does tend to like the Coen Brothers all right, or at least some of them, like Raising Arizona, stuff like that. I think he liked Fargo okay. So we go see The Big Lebowski, and it wasn't very crowded when we saw it at the mall. 'Cause back when the theater was here at the mall, this was when the mall was a first-run theater. When it stopped being a first-run theater, it was like cheap seats. Now it's like a church / paintball court. It's weird. Whatever it is, I don't know. I've never been to it, whatever the hell it is now. It's like an I worship place now. So, anyway, when the mall was a first-run theater, it was... at this time, 98, the mall was, it showed movies that they thought, like, probably weren't going to be big box office hits or anything like that. And sometimes it would show, like, whatever indie movie was kind of getting, like, a national release.
Boys Don't Cry went there.
Yeah, that would have gone to the mall.
Kind of a limited release thing.
Well, before they were doing that at the mall, they were doing that at, the Fox Theater. We used to have a theater in Springfield called the Fox, which was just specifically for indie films or like non-big studio stuff, things that would get like kind of a limited release. So we saw Lost Highway there at the Fox Theater.
God, that was good.
Yeah, we saw Lost Highway when it went there.
I wish they'd re-release that. That'd be
Lost Highway.
That'd be a fun review to do with you.
Fuck yeah, Lost Highway. Me and my dad saw Leon the Professional there, and so when the Fox Theater closed down, everyone was like, well, fuck, where's all the smaller movies gonna go?
It was a big theater.
It was a nice theater.
It was a nice big
It was a
theater.
2-screen. It was a 2-screen, really nice theater. So yeah, people were like, where the hell are the smaller movies are going to go? And Karasotis, the company that owned the theaters at the time, were like, oh, don't worry, we'll send them to the mall. They barely ever did. And when they did, it was like, kind of like you said with Boys Don't Cry. Like, yeah, they released Boys Don't Cry there, but Boys Don't Cry was in a lot of places at the time. So, anyway, that's where they sent The Big Lebowski. And so me and my dad would go see The Big Lebowski, and we're both laughing our asses off at this movie. From beginning to end, we are just, I was in tears laughing at this the first time that I saw it. And my dad was too. But at the end of the movie, I'm like, wow, that was great. And my dad's like, I don't know. Like, really? Who are you kidding? You know you loved that.
He actually acted like he didn't like it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think it was, he knew he liked it. It just wasn't processing right with him. Because neither one of us really knew what to expect out of it. Other than, like, you know, the bits you saw in the trailers, like, David Huddleston saying, well, aren't you? And him like, well, yeah. You know, stuff like that from the trailer, and even the kidnapping plot. But really specific things about it, not really. Just whatever the trailer was showing us. So when it was over, I mean, I love this freaking thing. I totally got into this. And I think my dad, he didn't know how to process it quite. And so because of that, I don't think he knew if he liked it or not. But he's seen it more than once. He's seen it multiple times. I've watched it with him more than once. I'm like, you're not kidding anyone. You love this movie just as much as I did. You laughed at all the points that I did. It's like Uncle Dave saying he didn't like Grease.
And he did. When he was cracking up and laughing at it and all that kind of thing. He just, I don't know.
Yeah.
He had a problem with Travolta or something or whatever.
The same thing happened to Buford. My birthday party, the following birthday party I had when The Big Lebowski was released on VHS, because I went down to Blockbuster and bought it on VHS for like $1 or something like that. Like, they had some sale. I went there right away and bought it. This was before it was officially for sale. I just bought a used copy of it. And so on my birthday that year, we all watched this movie. Because, like, Dave and Mike and Buford and them, they hadn't seen it. So we were sitting there, or Dave might have, but, like, we were sitting there watching it. And when it was over, we were like, Buford, what'd you think? Buford's like, I don't know. Again, he's laughing at all the points that we were. It was, I don't know. I guess he just wasn't, like, it wasn't
he hadn't
comprehending
processed it probably.
Or something like that.
You know, because it is one of those movies. It's the Coen brothers have their own kind of humor. It's not slapsticky. It's dry, almost literal humor, and sometimes dark. Definitely, but...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, please, no, go ahead.
When it is slapsticky, it's still played fairly dry. Like, okay, the chase scene in Raising Arizona, which is one of the greatest pieces of comedy ever put on film. The chase, son, you got a panty on your head. You know, like, there is all this slapstick going on there. Nick Cage is getting shot at in the middle of a grocery store, and dogs are chasing after him. But the way that certain people are kind of reacting to him is... It is very dry. Like, the guy just... He stops this guy in his truck. He's got a gun in his face. He's got that thing on his head. And the guy is just like... Son, you got a panty on your head. You know? Like, it's played like that. So even when there is this... Jillian's neighbors. So even when there is, you know, something very slapsticky going on, it is played in, very low-key kind of Coen Brothers sort of way.
They're geniuses. This one is, this one's by far my favorite. This is probably one of my top 5 movies. And I think I'd be hard-pressed to think of a movie that I've seen more. I probably have, but...
I showed it to you for the first time.
You did. You showed it to me for the first time. Two of my favorite actors, period, also in my top 5 favorite actors, are Jeff Bridges and John Goodman.
And Gilbert Gottfried?
Gilbert Gottfried. Sorry.
That was Steve Buscemi or something.
No, John Goodman and Jeff Bridges, they're just always good. Jon Stewart said this a while back when John Goodman was on his show. He said to me, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, you never suck ever.
It's true.
Basically, he would say that to him. He's always good, and it's the same with Jeff.
Yeah. And Jeff Bridges in this movie is when I knew instantly I loved this movie. There was no kind of like I laughed my ass off at this, but I don't know. There was none of that. I sat there watching this movie, and I would have been like 17 when it came out, and so. I'm sitting there watching this, and when the dude is on screen, I was sitting there like, well, that's gonna be me when I'm that age. It kind of is. I'm not gonna lie.
It kind of is.
I'm not gonna lie.
You don't wear jellies or...
No, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I would. It's summertime. I'm wearing a freaking hoodie, and I did the hat, and like, well, I don't have long flowing hair like Jeff Lebowski does, but. Yeah, I'll wear some shorts when I'm lounging around the house, even if it's like winter or something. But yeah, I have kind of, when I'm not just high, I have kind of a natural, you would think that this of all movies would be one that I would go to kind of high, but I have just kind of a natural high about me.
Yeah, you kind of do.
I really honestly do. I'm not, in real life, I'm not the characters I play. This really is, the me you see here really is kind of...
That's kind of how you are.
Real
What
life.
you see is what...
Not always what you see is what you get. If you're watching the cinema now, that's nothing like me.
No, that's nothing like
If you've seen me in any of the movies I've done,
that's not
dear
like you.
God, dear God, I should be in prison.
This right here is, that's why this you and I do together is so much fun. The Big Lebowski is almost, it has almost like a subculture, or it is absolutely a cult, for sure. They have Lebowski fests all over the country. I don't know if they're international, but I know
we've had them here. We've had them in Springfield. The Lebowski Fest.
I don't know if they're just in the United States or if they're like in other countries or whatever. But I was fortunate enough to get to go to one last April in LA, which was huge. And of course, I'm attached to this movie for lots of reasons. But I also have become friends with the Liam character. The Jesus.
Yeah, your friend's in the movie.
Yeah, and I got to meet him at the, we're friends on Facebook, and we talk once in a while. And I got to meet him at the Lebowski Fest in California. I didn't get to go the first night to the festival, which was kind of dragged because Jeff was there. But I got to meet Liam, and he is the nicest man.
Was he about to lose his shit in the scene with Jesus?
I've asked him about that.
He looks like he's about to crack.
He's really never said, but I asked him one time, I said, how did you do that scene and not lose it? And he said, it's called acting.
He says nothing in the movie, but he's really good.
He's very, very popular. He's got to be the most popular guy in film who had no lines, because he's in a couple.
There were some really popular actors, like in the silent film era.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true, smarty pants. But you know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean.
For a featured extra or whatever it is that they call him. But I mean, can you imagine being James Hoosier's his name? But can you imagine being him with Turturro right there, the Jesus right there?
Yeah.
Going off. What's this day of rest shit? What's this bullshit? That's all right. It don't matter to Jesus. And he's, oh my God.
I love there's so many things.
He's a pervert, dude.
No, seriously, he's a sex offender with a record.
Did some John Machino.
He had to go door to door telling everyone he exposed himself to an 8-year-old. I love jokes in this movie that, like that, for instance. I love jokes in this movie where you sit there sort of like, how did that situation end? Did this guy beat his ass when he went up to the door? I like that. I like jokes like that a lot.
I've got the, do you have the 10-year anniversary edition?
Yeah, I do.
So you've seen like some of the extras where they talk about how they develop their characters and whatnot. He really put together a lot with that character.
Turturro?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. I mean, the whole...
He makes the most out of it. It's
Oh,
2
my
scenes
God.
in the movie he's in, and he's one of the most popular characters in it. He's one of the most standout characters in it.
Yeah, he's actually in like 3 scenes, right? Because the 2 scenes when he's talking to the 3 of them, and then just the one scene where he does the dance.
Well, that's kind of part of the... Yeah, that's kind of part of the same scene.
at the festival, there was, I don't even know how many people were there. This was at a bowling alley. I really don't know how many people were there, but the entire bowling alley was packed. People were lined outside and around the building. Half the people, I would say at least half the people were in character. There was a whole bunch of Walters, Jesus. There was a bunch of Maud Lebowskis. There was even the Martin, the landlord.
Oh, yeah.
And out in the parking lot, people had the big thing flipping up a blow-up doll.
Just a blow-up doll?
Just the blow-up doll,
dude,
yeah.
I'm Jackie Treehorn. Mm-hmm. I could be Jackie Treehorn.
You could be Jackie Treehorn.
I have that suit. Mm-hmm. I totally have that suit. He's walking around looking like old 80s Dan.
Mm-hmm. The relationships between the three are so interesting, between the dude, Walter, and Donnie.
Uh-huh.
You know, because Walter treats Donnie like such shit. But at the end, you can see that he's just being very, very protective. It's okay, Donnie. These men are, what would he say?
These men are cowards,
These men are cowards, Donnie. And he really, really cared about Donnie. You can tell in his little eulogy.
We got a chopper running in here.
Mm-hmm. His little eulogy at the end. And sometimes you just know Jeff, the dude just hates Walter's guts. Mm-hmm. But then at one point in the movie he says, "Walter, I love you, man, but you're an asshole," or whatever he said.
You're just a fucking asshole. Yeah, I like relationships like that in movies. I do. And you can even see a little bit of that too in some stuff that I've done on the site. Like I like characters like in this, where throughout a lot of it you see these guys and you're like, these guys, they seem to really not care for one another, or they seem to just not, they seem to just sort of tolerate each other. Like, okay, they have a bowling league together and they'll get along because of the bowling league, but they're always like kind of down each other's throats and sort of annoying one another, but they're so laid back and kind of chill, or at least the dude and like Donnie are. But yeah, then there are the moments in the movie, like Walter protecting Donnie, and like the hug that dude and Walter have at the end, where like there is little moments like that make it not unrealistic that these guys would hang out together. It makes it not unrealistic that they'd have a bowling league together, because when you see them in moments where, you know, there's not the kidnapping plot going on, when there's not the stuff with the rug or anything
not
like
all the
that.
drama.
Yeah, they are just kind of talking. They are just kind of rambling about stuff, just like little chit chat and whatnot. Like, hell, even the stuff about the rug at the beginning of it was spawned really, you know, just from them kind of shooting the shit. Like him saying, "This is a thing that happened to me today," and it just rolled into this kidnapping plot. It's cool seeing like this chill figure like the dude, and then you have Walter Sobchak, and even knowing who the characters are based on, dude being, I cannot remember the guy's name.
I can't either.
He's based on a director, producer. I can't remember.
I should know, and I feel horrible.
Walter is based on John Milius, dude who did Red Dawn and Big Wednesday. And, yeah, great fucking movie.
Great movie.
And he wrote Magnum Force, and I love John Milius. And I could picture someone like Walter Sobchak directing something like Red Dawn. I totally can. I love Red Dawn.
They're just so opposite of each other, the dude, because Walter's so uptight, and there's nothing that he won't take back to Vietnam. You know,
Donnie's eulogy.
I know it. When he shows up when they go to the Big Lebowski's house, and he asks, all right, is it Brand that says, "Who are you? Who's this? Who
am I? I'm a fucking veteran."
I'm a fucking veteran. It's like, who introduces themselves as that? You know, but he does. Even in bowling, he can take it. Any situation, he'll take it back to his life. I didn't lose my buddies lying face down in the mud.
This little harlot, this little whore. Walter has nothing to do with Vietnam.
Well, not literally, but...
No, it's got nothing, Walter. And I like how that's just pretty much Jeff Bridges kind of at this point. Like, whenever pre-Big Lebowski and post-Big Lebowski, like, it is kind of funny how they say, like, you know, the Coen brothers say, like, yeah, the dude is based on this other guy that we know, know how it'd be kind of funny if he was wrapped up in a pot like this. But Jeff Bridges is so much like Jeffrey Lebowski in real life.
He really is. When he, I saw the video of when Jeff came out at the Lebowski Fest and introduced the movie. It's him. I mean, he walks out on the stage and a couple thousand people at the Wiltern in Los Angeles, or how many ever it holds, just roar. You know, he's exactly like the character. I kind of felt like tonight that most of the people just listening, how they would laugh ahead of a scene. It seemed like there probably wasn't anybody in there. It's possible there was somebody in there that hadn't seen the movie. But for the most part, didn't you think so? Because you'd hear them laugh ahead of the
because I was doing the same thing. And I was wondering that too in the movie, if there was anyone here who hadn't seen the movie previously, which is entirely... when they re-released Risky Business, Sarah hadn't seen it before. But I took Sarah... Well, actually, that... yeah, that would have been funny if you were there for that, because you weren't you friends in real life with the homeless guy on the subway?
The homeless guy on the train. He was a dramatics teacher at my high school in Quincy for maybe just a year or two. And he wasn't my teacher, but he was my older sister's and her friends. He was their dramatics teacher and helped to do choreography with our high school musical and that kind of thing. And then he moved up to Chicago and did some film and stage work. He was really, really talented. He never finally got that one big role, but I could always ask anybody who'd ever seen Risky Business, do you remember the derelict on the train drinking booze out of the paper bag? And they would remember him, and that was him.
Didn't you say he called you when he got the part?
He did. He rang me up, and he said that he got this role where he plays a derelict, and I don't even know if he told me how many scenes he was going to be in or whatever, but he said that it was going to be with a couple relative unknowns.
Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay.
Rebecca De Mornay, and I'm like, well, that is really cool. And it was cool going to see it at the theater, you know, and he even got a credit. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that. That's another fucking movie I love. It was interesting seeing, since having seen this movie in the theater and Big Lebowski. I didn't see Risky Business in the theater when it first came out, but seeing Big Lebowski in the theater and seeing that really kind of cult that it spawned, that huge fan base that it spawned, follow after that, because you know, when Big Lebowski came out, like I think it was kind of like it did mediocre at the box office or something like that, which back then I didn't pay as much attention to stuff like that as I do now. Not that it's something I seek it out now. It's just something that everyone is always aware of, what kind of performance a movie does at the box office. And so it was this great movie that I saw. Me and my friends watched it all the time when I was in that video course up at the Art Institute.
In Chicago?
Up in Chicago, a bunch of us got together there and watched it. People that I'd never even met before. We just started talking the Big Lebowski and watched it. And then, you know, it just... people show their friends show other friends, and so on and so on, and it becomes this cult hit to the point to where it's probably the Coen brothers. Arguably it's their most popular film. You could argue it's Fargo. You could argue it's
I don't know.
You could argue that it's Raising Arizona, but for me, from my experience, from people I talk to, from people I hang out with, you know, I love the Coen brothers. I would honestly say that this is their best film. I think that it's truly one of the most perfect comedies ever made. There is not a joke in this movie that doesn't work. There's not a line delivery that doesn't work. There's not a single character that doesn't work. There's not even a character in this movie that's useless. And whenever you would see a character in this movie that maybe doesn't have much to do with anything, that is part of the joke. Like David Thewlis as the cackling bald guy.
Oh my God, so random.
He's like, who the fuck is this guy? Who is he? That's part of the joke. And there is not a single plot point in this movie that doesn't work. There's not a resolution that doesn't work. they really made a perfect comedy with this, as far as I'm concerned. And I know comedy is subjective. I absolutely know that. But to me, anyway, they really churned out a brilliant product here, that there's a reason why this movie is getting re-released. There's a reason why it has this cult of followers for a movie that, you know what? If a movie is great like this, box office doesn't fucking matter. It's going to find an audience. This movie found an audience. Even movies that come out today that Dread's found an audience. In the 80s, The Thing found an audience. Blade Runner, stuff like that. The great things find an audience like this, and dear God, did this one ever.
And snowballed. You know, into this huge thing. There's no scene you would change. There's no line, no word, nothing you would change or take out or nothing. You know, it's the perfect comedy is the exact way to describe it.
Yeah, and what I like about I do like being a part of the fan base of this movie. I absolutely totally do. This is some movies that you can really, really like a lot. Some movies you can say are absolutely great films, but they might turn out to have like sort of an annoying fan base. Like, okay, off the top of my head, The Crow or Donnie Darko or something like that. Both fantastic. I think The Crow is a great film. Donnie Darko would be a pretty damn good movie. Kind of an annoying hardcore fan base, or at least at the time. I don't know about now, but like this one though, like any time that I've gone to the Big Lebowski thing at the bowling alley before, it's just a lot of really chill people.
Very chill people. Probably most of them stoned.
Oh, I can vouch for that.
Yeah. It's a good crowd and so many fun things at the festival. Like, you know, they had serving up one little bar stations that served only White Russians, and the tip can was Folger's coffee can with a cut out of the lid that said Donnie's Funeral Fund.
Which there was an In-N-Out burger around here.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And I love White Russians. White Russians, that's a drink where it's like chilling around the house. That's not like I'm gonna go to the bar and get shit-faced and have White Russian. Fuck, after a couple hours you'll get nauseous.
Yeah.
At least me anyway. I don't if I'm going to get drunk, I'm not mixing dairy in anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's just chilling around the house. I'm gonna watch some TV, listen to music or something like that, or fart around on the computer. I love little things about this movie too, how a lot of the dude's dialogue is totally made up of stuff that he's just overheard somebody else saying. Like a lot of ins, a lot of this aggression will not stand.
This aggression will not stand. Yeah. And that just happened to be when he was writing his check for 69?
60, yeah.
Is it 69 cents or 67?
It's 61 or 60.
No, it's not 61. It's either 7 or 9
cents, I think.
For his creamer that he's already taken a drink out of at the Ralph's. You know, and behind the Ralph's girl is George H.W. Bush talking about Saddam, and this aggression will not stand.
It's funny how this takes place in 1991.
Oh, yeah.
It's a timeless story, to be perfectly honest. Like, it would... you know what? I really like how it takes place in 1991 because... mainly because of the bowling alley setting. Because... I kind of grew up around bowling alleys. You kind of
grew up around bowling alleys.
Like, quite a bit, which is funny because I'm terrible at bowling. I am. If I make 100 on bowling, that's a good day. That's a lucky day. That's a good day.
Yeah, I completely lost my train of thought.
Bowling?
Yeah. You did spend quite a bit of time there, and I'm not much of a bowler either, but you can tell that they kind of moved back the bowling things because they were handwriting the scores. And I think in 98 and 99 they already had the automatic.
Well, the movie takes place in 91, but like in 91 I remember that there wasn't I remember like I remember in the late 80s over at Kingpin there's still handwriting because you could see the shadow of the hands up on the screen and stuff like that. But 91 I'm remembering like electronic scoring around there, at least like you know, when we started going to Strike and Spare West. I'm terrible. I loved kind of growing up around bowling alleys and in bowling alleys. It was great. I was looking forward to that like every freaking week. I'm a terrible fucking bowler, but because of that, I'm good at arcade games.
Good at arcade games.
That's what I fucking did there. They had the Simpsons arcade game, the Terminator 2 arcade game, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat.
You also notice in movies, lots of movies that have, you know, a particular point in time, like Walter up there bowling, holding his ball with a cigarette in his mouth. I mean, that's not going to happen today.
I remember the flimsy ashtrays at Hardee's. Remember those little flimsy ass? They're practically made of tin foil.
Yep, teenage little round things with the like punch out of it to put where you could place your cigarette.
I think you should be allowed to smoke at a fast food joint. Because come on. Like a cigarette's going to be the worst thing you're going to eat at Hardee's, home of the triple thick burger. Okay. I'll believe it if you live to 70 and you're a smoker. I've seen it. I've seen people live to 90 and they're smokers. You ain't living to fucking 90 if you eat a triple thick burger all the time.
It's not going to happen.
Let people smoke in fast food restaurants.
Well, your great-grandma lived to 86 and she was a smoker. But anyway, what's our next one? What movie?
Beverly Hills Cop. Fuck yeah, Beverly Hills Cop. Was there anything about this movie that you noticed this time that didn't necessarily any previous 100 times seeing the movie?
The only thing I could come up with, and I was trying to look at the movie and think, is there something I missed? The only thing possibly was when the dude got pissed off and left when they were bowling, like practicing, and Walter was sitting down at the scoring area and looked up at Donnie and just mouthed the words, something like, "It's such a baby." You know, I don't, talking about the dude. Other than that, I don't think there's anything. I can't think of anything.
That was always something that I noticed, but I think it wasn't until like I'd seen it a few times that I picked up what he said. The one for me earlier, at least it was a joke that I had forgotten about. At least it was when he was talking to Jackie Treehorn and was asking for his 10% of $1 million and said it was $5,000.
It was $5,000.
I love it because the dude, like, as chill as he is, and you know he'll struggle, you know, getting some words out. Sometimes he'll struggle getting some words out and things like that. But there are times when he's sort of thinking on his feet, like when Jackie Treehorn goes in the other room and he's quick enough to get up and, you know, sketch that on the little note that Jackie Treehorn was writing. And hell, he even puts the whole mystery together by the end of the movie. And it was really just a couple of minor clues that kind of put it together for him, but he smoked the right pot and it kind of came to him. Oh, it's like I said, like I was telling Jake outside, it was like the one movie you would have expected me to get a little high for before going to see it. You would have expected it to be this, but yeah, I will when I go home and I watch them talk about Dragon Ball Z for an hour, however long they were talking about it.
Yeah, I'll have to see that whole spider thing that's on here.
He said it's on there. He said there's them getting scared by a spider or something like that. And the spider just wanted to talk about the movie.
I hope the spider's okay.
I'll find out when I watch the video.
So next week?
Yeah, next week is Beverly Hills Cop, and tomorrow I'm going to be back at the theater seeing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Speaking of early 90s.
Sorry, I'm going to miss that.
Not a Turtles fan?
Not a Turtles fan.
It was my dad who took me to see those in the theater.
I don't think I ever took you.
That was that was all put on my dad to take me to go see those, and just because I wanted to see. I actually liked the first couple of Turtles movies, but my dad, he was just there because I wanted to see them. And I'm gonna be at that Tornado movie, Into the Storm. Whatever, I'm not gonna be at Step Up 5.
Yeah, I'll be at the fair, so you'll have to take a look and see what the classic re-releases are after Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, they don't have them listed yet, but
But yeah, I'll keep an eye on that.
Cool.
All right.
Bye.
Later.
See you next time.